Go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sierra St. Arnold. Today, I'm going to be going over a day in the life on a fam trip. So, as I'm sure most of you know, I just came back from Mexico. I was there for 11 days. The first 5 days were a guided fam trip that I paid for. And then the last 6 days were kind of on my own. And I had free nights to use and stuff like that, which I'm going to kind of get into. But I'm going to be going over kind of how I got this fam trip, the rules of the fam trip, all the places that we saw, things like that. So I'm going to be going over the fam trip, obviously, but I'm also going to talk about the places that we visited, just because I think that will probably be helpful as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first day, obviously, is when I got to Cancun. So this was included in my fam trip. I was picked up by a transfer company at the airport. I had to ride with 2 other agents that were also on the fam trip, which was not a big deal. It was a great way to meet people because I didn't know any, I only knew one other person on this fam trip. So I rode to the resort with them. We got there and our room wasn't ready yet. So we got there around lunchtime, I think it was, and check-in wasn't until 3. So our room wasn't ready yet. We were staying at Majestic Elegance Costa Mujeres. So instead of just like sitting in the lobby, we went and had lunch at the buffet. So this was kind of, obviously the first day we weren't doing a ton of things in relation to the fam trip, but this is always good to be able to do, because not only do you get to experience, the check-in process and what you can do before you actually have your room, but like I said, we also got to try one of the restaurants as well, which was really nice. And I do have pictures and stuff like that I'm going to show you guys too. So we checked in right at 3 o'clock. Our room was ready. They gave us a wristband. That's what they use as a room key. So you don't have to carry around like a key card or anything. It's just a bracelet, and they like clamp it so you can't take it on and off. Like it stays on the whole time you're there. We were escorted to our rooms. We had a butler because we were in the adults only section. So Majestic Elegance is a family property, but they have adults only sections of the resort, which is where we were staying. So all of the adults only rooms have butlers. So we were taken to our room by our butler. His name was Paco. And he gave us a sheet with everything that we were going to need, gave us the information on how to get in contact with him and all of that good stuff. And we had about 3.5 hours of free time once we got to our rooms. So we did have an itinerary that we were following. We were given that before we actually got to the resort. We were given it about a week in advance. So we had about 3.5 hours of free time between the time that we got our room and then we had to meet the group that night for like a welcome dinner. So I pretty much in that time frame waited for my luggage, which came pretty quickly. I worked a little bit. I took videos and pictures of the room because, as you guys know, I use TikTok a lot. So I made sure I got my room tour done and all of that before I like completely destroyed the room and made it messy and all of that. So got a little bit of work done. And then we had a welcome cocktail at the piano bar at 7 p.m. So that was a mandatory thing that we had to attend. Pretty much every activity from here on out was a mandatory thing that we were supposed to be there for. You didn't get to pick and choose as to what you wanted to do and when you wanted to participate. And that's how most fam trips are. They give you the itinerary and everything is pretty much done as a group for everything that's on there. So we went to, like I said, the piano bar at 7. We did introductions of everybody, or as much as we could, before our dinner that we were going to have. So the mixology bar was there and they made us drinks. Obviously, I had a little mocktail, but that was pretty cool to experience part of that because they have that mixology bar down at the lobby bar. So it was cool to experience that, and they put it in this little like globe thing and it started smoking and it was really interesting. So we all kind of got to know each other because, like I said, most people on this fam trip did not already know each other for the most part. There was a couple that did, but for the most part, everybody was meeting people for the first time. So then after that, we went and had our welcome dinner. Again, this was as a group at the steakhouse. And depending on the fam trip that you go on and the group size and stuff like that, every once in a while, they may give you like a specific menu to choose from. Luckily, we did not have that restriction. We were able to order anything off of the whole menu, which was really nice. So while we were at dinner, we did some more introductions, had dinner. We sat there until about 10 p.m. So we were there for a pretty long time, just talking and chatting and stuff like that. But that was pretty much our first day. And that's typically how I would say first days of fam trips, at least guided fam trips, go. just because everybody gets in at different times and things like that. And then, you kind of have your free time, and then everybody meets up for dinner, and then you really get started the next day. So oh no, why does it look like this? I'm so upset. I did this on my phone and it's going to be screwed up. Let me see if I can fix this really quick. But I put this picture of myself on here to show you guys what I wore to dinner. The restaurant itself didn't have a dress code, but you are on a business trip, so everybody kind of dressed up. I just wore like a maxi dress and some heels, and I have pictures of the room in here, and I'm really hoping that they did not all screw up like this. If they did, I'm going to be really upset. Here we go. So here's the pictures of the room. These rooms are really large. So this is the bathroom. The one thing to know about Majestic is their bathrooms are not private. So they are completely open. Over here, you can't see it in this picture, but over here next to, like, in between these two things, there is a door for the toilet and a door for the shower. But other than that, there is no like bathroom door or privacy screens or anything like that. So if you have friend groups that you're sending to this resort, it's a great resort for that, but they just need to know, like, if you don't want people to see you when you get out of the shower, then they need to either be on the balcony or be out of the room or whatever the case may be. Because this does not have blinds, and then, over in this area is just one big open doorway. So the bathroom is not private, but they do have this really big tub, and then they have a rain shower with plenty of space and stuff like that in there. And then obviously you can see through this, the bed is on the other side of this little wall right here. This was the balcony. We just had the lead-in room. That's pretty, I don't know if that's necessarily standard for fam trips, but that's what we had. We had the lead-in category on the adults only side. So it was just an Elegance Club Junior Suite. So we had like a pool garden view type thing. You could see the ocean a tiny little bit from my balcony, but that was not the case for everybody. It definitely was not what I would consider ocean view by any means, but this was the balcony. There was a jacuzzi on here, and this right here, this little area, it's like slats like this, but they go all the way down. So this is not a private jacuzzi or anything by any means. So people out in the pool and stuff can see into this. So just keep that in mind for your clients. And then there's this little day bed that kind of goes in back behind this wall over here. And this is kind of where you can hang out and all of that good stuff if you wanted to. I spent quite a bit of time here working because I could see out to the pool and all of that stuff. So this is the bathroom and the balcony of the room. Here we go. I don't know why these are out of order. This was the mixology bar. Like I said, they put it in this little globe thing, and he made our drinks in here, and it like smoked, and it was really cool. He even did my little mocktail the same way, which was really interesting. So this was a cool touch that not every single resort has, but he has this little stand at the bar that's downstairs, so your clients can take advantage of that. And then this was my dinner at the restaurant. I just got a steak, corn, and potatoes because that's what I got at the steakhouse. So the food was really good. I will say we did have a group of, I believe there was 10 of us total. So when our food came out, it wasn't like super hot, and I'm not saying that's bad by any means. It was definitely still warm, but I think because we had a larger group, it took them a little bit of time to get everybody's stuff ready. So it wasn't as hot as I wanted it to be. I'm just giving you guys my honest opinions, but it was still very good food. So definitely would not hesitate to send people here at all. So day 2, like I said, is kind of when everything got started as far as site inspections and stuff like that. It still wasn't a super busy day just because the day after was insane. But day 2, we all had breakfast on our own. So I personally pre-ordered room service the night before. So I just called the night before and was like, hey, can you deliver my breakfast at this specific time? We all had to meet, I believe it was like 8:50 or something like that in the lobby. So I wanted my breakfast around 8. So I had plenty of time to eat and get ready and everything like that. And they brought it right on time. So that was really nice. And then we went to this like banquet room. It was a really small banquet room, but we had training there. So, this fam trip that I went on was put on by Mexico Fam Trips. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they do their own fam trips. It's run by people who actually live in the Cancun, Playa del Carmen area. So that is who I did it through. So he did a presentation about the destination as a whole. So it wasn't directed towards any specific resorts. It was more about the different areas of Cancun. So he went over Costa Mujeres. He went over Cancun, the hotel zone, the Riviera Maya, what that actually means. He went over Isla Mujeres, Tulum, Playa del Carmen, all of those things kind of up and down the coast, like from top to bottom, all the way from Costa Mujeres to Tulum. And then he also touched on Isla Mujeres a little bit as well, which was really interesting because he gave us a lot of information about certain places and what they have, what type of resorts are in these certain places, what they're close to, if they're kind of in the middle of nowhere, not close to anything. And I put all of this in my Google Doc, which I will also share after this, and I'll put it in the description of the recording. But I put all of the information that he gave us because I did take a lot of notes. I'll put all of that in that document. So if you guys have people that are looking for a certain type of area, that was definitely super helpful because I've been to Cancun 3 times now, but I don't really know that, or I didn't really know the difference between all of them, other than some are further from the airport, some get more seaweed versus less seaweed, things like that. But he kind of went into what each different area has and is known for and everything like that, which was very, very informational. So if you ever go on fam trips, absolutely take a notebook. I took a composition book like this, and I have already filled up this much of it. So this is all from my fam trip. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but it was a lot of information because I used to take notes on my phone and it just did not work for me. So I took a notebook and took notes because I wanted to be able to go back and actually use this information to my advantage. So that was a nice little touch. I've never had anybody do that on any of the other fam trips I've been on. So I really, really enjoyed that. And then we had a presentation by Majestic Elegance, which is, like I said, their resort that we were staying at. So they have resorts in Mexico and the Dominican Republic, and they actually touched on information about both properties. So that was really interesting. Obviously, I haven't been to the one in the Dominican, but it was really nice to get some information about that in case I had people that were interested. They weren't just trying to sell the Mexico property. They were kind of, they even compared the two as to, like, if you have clients that want this specific thing, then they may be better off in the Dominican. There are more properties in the Dominican. So they have 3 different resorts right next to each other. In the DR, in Mexico, it's just Majestic Elegance. They are building it up a little bit, but they haven't gotten to that point yet. So it was really interesting to kind of hear the differences and the similarities and all of that stuff, which was really nice. And then we did a site inspection of Majestic after that. So we sat through a presentation with the sales manager. It was super quick, but then we did a site inspection of the entire place. So not only did we get the information up front, then we got to walk around the whole place and see it and take pictures and videos and all of that stuff. So that took about an hour and 15 minutes for us to go around the entire resort because it is a little bit spread out, but we got to go into all the restaurants, which obviously we could do that on our own, but it was nice to go in when there was nobody there because we could take pictures and all of that. We saw all the different places that they do weddings. They have 3 different wedding ceremony areas. So we were able to see all of those. They were actually setting some up. So that was pretty cool. We were able to see different room categories besides the one that we were in. We went through the spa and all of that good stuff. So we saw lots and lots of stuff on the site inspection that we maybe wouldn't have had time to do on our own in our free time just because we were doing so much other stuff. So as I mentioned, we toured all of that stuff. And then after that site inspection, we had the rest of the day to ourselves. So I will be honest, the other fam trips I've been on, we did not have this much free time. I don't know if I would say it's probably more standard to not have as much free time as I did on this one, but it was really nice to be able to have that because you get to experience it for yourself and not through the eyes of a sales manager or something like that. You just get to experience it as a regular guest, which was really nice. So me and a couple other agents went to the beach. We had lunch at the food shack there, and we were at the beach for about 4 hours because we didn't have, any obligations. And then we decided that we were going to have dinner together anyway, because why would we want to eat by ourselves? So after we were at the beach, I came back, showered, worked a little bit, and just kind of hung out before dinner. And then a couple of us met up at the Mexican restaurant for dinner. So that was not one of the restaurants that was on our itinerary to do as a group. So we all decided we're in Mexico. Obviously, we want to eat Mexican. And so we went to eat at that one on our own. We had a really good time there. So These are some pictures from the resort. So they do have swim up or swim out rooms. They are not private. So this pool, anybody can get into. But you can see from this room that you can see the ocean and everything like that. This over here, again, is just some of the property. They have like water lining all of the sidewalks and everything. And all the sidewalks, for the most part, are covered other than at the pool. So if it's raining or something like that, you don't have to worry about getting wet. And then this picture right here is part of the spa. So it mimics a cenote, which was really, really interesting. I've never seen that before. I actually just had clients that just came back from this resort yesterday, and they did a spa treatment. They had like a cave massage is what it was called. And I believe that they had it in here. And she said it was the most amazing massage she's ever had. So the spa was really cool. There was a steam room, sauna, hydrotherapy, everything like that. I didn't get any spa treatments just because I knew I was going to get one later on in the trip and I didn't want to spend the money on it. But some other agents did the hydrotherapy. It was only $35 for the hydrotherapy, and they really, really enjoyed it. So definitely a good spa at this place, and it's just pretty to look at. So these are just some pictures from that. And then this was the beach there. There was a tiny bit of seaweed when we were there, but nothing ever worse than this. And it wasn't really like gathering in the water, which was really nice. The water here was pretty calm. The beach wasn't quite like that turquoise blue, but the ocean itself was still really pretty. Like I said, it wasn't murky or anything like that. And then I included this picture of our entire group just again to kind of show you guys what people wore, because there is obviously a dress code with fam trips. You want to be business attire, things like that. So a lot of us just wore dresses and sandals. I know some of these bags are kind of covering it up, but like he has on a button-up shirt and dress pants. In the other picture I show you, it's a little bit different, but for the most part, we just wore dresses because it was really hot. And so that was just the easiest. And then this is the person that gave us our site inspection. So we got her information. She is actually in, I believe, the wedding department. So it was really nice to be able to give her our business cards. She gave us her information and things like that. So again, a really good way to get those contacts on site. So if you ever have clients there, or you need something for clients or something like that, then you have somebody that you can directly get in contact with. It's not just like a generic email. So again, this is just kind of what we wore on the second day. And then this is just some pictures from the site inspection. So this over here is kind of like the patio. And then back here is the theater where they have like their nightly entertainment and stuff like that. Along this right here is where the restaurants are, the sports bar, the shops, all of that is kind of all one row. So you don't have to really like look for anything. It's all kind of right there. And then this is just some of the food that we had at the Mexican restaurant. These were the fajitas. We got offered by the waiter this appetizer, so it had a little bit of everything on it, and we just split it. It was all, pretty good. It wasn't necessarily what I would consider authentic Mexican food, but it was good food nonetheless. And then this is a picture of the steakhouse. So it was nice to be able to go into the steakhouse during the day when there was no people, because the sun was shining, there was no people in the pictures, and you can actually see what it looks like when we were there for dinner. It was super dark. There were people everywhere, and I didn't really get any good pictures because of that. So that's another good thing about going during the day when it's bright and sunny and there's nobody in it. You get to see it kind of as what it looks like all the time. So day 3 was super, super busy. This was like the bulk of our trip. This is when we did all of our, well, I won't say all, but a good majority of our site inspections. This was the longest day for sure. I pre-ordered room service the night before for this day as well, but it didn't come in time, and I was getting nervous that I was going to run out of time and not be able to eat. And as you guys know, I'm pregnant, so I knew we were going to be walking a lot in the heat, and I knew I needed to have breakfast. So I ended up just going to the club lounge. So I will say the room service was a little hit or miss. My breakfast actually never came that day. So don't know what happened there, but it just never came. So I'm glad I had access to the club lounge. The club lounge just has like little pastries, fruit, yogurt, stuff like that. It's not a full breakfast buffet, but they did also have a breakfast buffet. I just didn't have time to go there because I had waited so long for my room service. So the transfer company came to pick us up for site inspections at 9 a.m. So we had to be in the lobby at 8:50, ready to go, so that when they got there, they could just pick us up, take us. We weren't waiting on anybody or anything like that. So we did site inspections of Garza Blanca, Finest, Playa Mujeres, Dreams and Secrets, Playa Mujeres, Grand Palladium, TRS Coral. Those were the resorts that we did site inspections at, we had lunch at the Secrets property. So, we had a very long day. We did not get back to the hotel until around 6:15 that afternoon. And I actually tracked my steps. I walked 4.8 miles this day. So some of these properties are a little spread out, but it just goes to show you like they really do take you around every single aspect of the resort. So not only did we get to see obviously like the pool and the beach and stuff like that, but we also got to see room categories, a couple different room categories at each. It's not just like here's one and that's all you get. We got to see a couple different room categories. At the family friendly properties, we got to see the kids club if there was one. We also got to go into several restaurants and things like that. And then obviously the lobby and those kinds of areas we got to see. So it is definitely work. Like I said, we were gone like an entire work day, like 9 to 6 p.m. is a very long time. And all of these were within 5 minutes of each other. So it's not like we were getting in the transfer car and driving, 20 minutes to the next one. It was like 5 minutes in between. We didn't really get a lot of time to catch our breath, but we got to see a lot of places and got a lot of information, which was really nice too. So again, the humidity was about 80%. It felt like 94 degrees outside. So it wasn't just like a walk in the park. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. It was extremely hot. And a lot of us were walking around with like towels that they had given us that were wet and cold just to kind of like keep our body temperature down because it was super, super hot. And we were all sweaty and sticky and gross by the end, but that's what you do on fam trips. It's not cold in Cancun. So we definitely had weather to deal with, but that's just something that you kind of know going into it, that it's going to be hot. You're going to be walking a lot, but you're going to get a lot of information out of it. So just know those things. For people that are more, I don't want to say disabled, that's not what I mean, but people that can't walk a lot or can't do hot temperatures, just be aware of that when you book fam trips, because they can make accommodations, but it's something that you need to let them know, and something you need to be aware of ahead of time is that you're going to do a lot of walking and there's going to be a lot of places for you to go and see and all of that stuff. So they knew I was pregnant. It was pretty obvious. So they were pretty accommodating for that. Luckily, I didn't need to like be wheeled around or anything, but if I would have needed that, they could have accommodated. They just needed to know ahead of time. So once we got back, we had reservations at the teppanyaki tables. This was one of the only places that the Majestic Resort required reservations at. So we had to be there at 7:10. And we were having dinner as a group again. So we had to be there on time. We didn't have a ton of time to like get ready or anything like that. So we met again as a group for dinner. And these are just some pictures. Again, this is just to kind of show you dress code wise what people wore. So this was a full day of site inspections. You definitely want to make sure you wear something comfortable and that you wear good walking shoes, because like I said, I walked almost 5 miles this day. So as you can see, again, we're all wearing dresses. He is wearing shorts this day, but he still has on a collared shirt that has a couple buttons. He has on tennis shoes because, like I said, we did walk a lot. So I like this because it shows guys and girls dress code. But like I said, for the most part, we all just wore dresses because it was the easiest and it was super hot outside. So that is what kind of kept us cool. And you can see that we all have our little notebooks. Like I have mine in this picture. She has a notebook right here. We all had our bags that we were carrying around with notebooks in it so we could take notes as we went through the properties, because you do go through them pretty quickly and there's no way that you will ever remember all the information that they give you if you don't write it down. So always be prepared to take notes. This was at Garza Blanca. So this is one of the sales managers. She helped give our site inspection. And then this girl right here also came along for our site inspection as well. They have a carousel outside, which is pretty cool. So they said it opens at 6 p.m. every night. So again, all of that information is in the Google Doc about everything. These are just some pictures from the beach. The beach here, not super big, but still plenty of room. They do have, I don't know if you guys can tell from this, but they do have an underwater museum right here. And there's also like blow up inflatables on the ocean. It is included for the all-inclusive guests because Garza Blanca does have all-inclusive as well as European plan options. So good for either type of person. This picture in the middle was taken from the rooftop pool, which is adults only, so it overlooks all the other pools. And as you guys can see, this building right here is under construction. This is going to be an adults only building. It should be ready by May of next year is what they are aiming for. And again, all this information is in the Google Doc. So again, this is just a view looking the opposite way, not looking at the ocean, of the property from one of the balconies of the rooms that we toured. This again is the rooftop adults only area. So they have a pool up there. It's an infinity pool. And then they also have these loungers, and there is a bar up there as well as a restaurant. So lots of things up there. If you have people that don't want to be around kids, they could hang out up there all day as long as they're okay with not being on the beach. We saw several different room categories here. They have 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom suites. So lots of different options for lots of different sized families. And I put all of those occupancy limits and things like that in the Google Doc. But this is just to show you some pictures that these are the pictures that I took myself. They don't have anybody in them. They are kind of staged. They aren't messed up or anything like that. So if I ever have people that want to see real life pictures and not pictures from the website, then I have these to share with them. So bathroom, same thing. I don't know why people are, well, I do know why people are kind of obsessed with what bathrooms look like, but stuff that you may not think is important, I take pictures of literally everything. And this, obviously, I can show this whenever I'm talking about Garza Blanca, but I can also use it for just like filler posts as well. So I always recommend not only taking pictures of the things that you're seeing as far as rooms and restaurants and the lobby and all of that, but also take pictures at the beach and the pool and things like that you can use in addition to when you're talking about that resort specifically. So the next one that we saw was Finest Playa Mujeres. So this is a kid-friendly resort. This is one of the room offerings that they have. I believe it's like a plunge pool. It's not a swim out necessarily because you have to walk out to it. But these over here are swim outs. So these are, again, just a couple of different options. And then this is a picture from their kids club. They did ask that we didn't take any pictures in the kids club if there were children there, but for obvious privacy reasons. So luckily when we got there, all the kids were kind of on the backside, so we were able to snap a quick picture. But they have this water park. The kids club there is really, really awesome. They do a lot of different activities. They have this area for the kids club, and then they also had another area that I didn't get a picture of because there were so many kids there with some bigger slides. And they had a little zip lining area and stuff like that. They also do horseback riding and parasailing and stuff like that. You just have to register for it. I can't remember if that was an additional cost or not. It's in the Google Doc though. So if you're interested in that, just look at that document that I made. The next one was Dreams and Secrets Playa Mujeres. So Dreams is the family friendly side. Secrets is adults only. So this is a good property if you have people that, if you have people that want water slides or a water park or anything like that. So this one on the far left hand side is in the kids club. This is obviously very small. This is for the smaller kids. Adults are not allowed into the kids club for obvious reasons. They have a kids club for a reason. They don't want a bunch of adults in there. So they have this right here. These bigger water slides are for anybody staying at Dreams. And then this over here is just another area of water slides that they have. So several different options if you have people that want water activities besides just a pool. This is a really great option, and they had a really nice beach too. So kind of the best of both worlds. And then this is kind of just an overview of the pools. They kind of spread out all over their resort. They had infinity pools, and then this was the beach. So we didn't actually go down onto the beach just because it was kind of a little far of a walk and we were all hot and exhausted. So you can't see it great, but a very big beach area. And the water here is really nice. They don't get hit with a lot of seaweed because we were pretty much as far north as you can get. So this, like I said, has a really good beach. Obviously, you can't guarantee no seaweed, but really good beach, lots of pools, lots of water slides, all of that good stuff. And they have the family friendly and the adults only side. So the people at Secrets do have access to Dreams, and then anybody that is 18 or older at Dreams has access to Secrets. So you kind of get two resorts in one because they are on the same complex. We also saw TRS Coral, which is the adults only side of Grand Palladium or Palladium. I'm not 100% sure how you say it. Again, this was just pictures of the restaurant that I was able to take because there were no people in there. This, I believe, was their steakhouse. Obviously at night it would have been a little bit darker, a lot busier and stuff like that. So it was really nice to be able to take pictures without people interrupting and being in the way. The beach here also really nice. Like I said, most of these resorts are within 5 minutes of each other, so they have very similar beaches. Very, very big beach area for sitting, and then really nice ocean and things like that. Not a lot of seaweed. And then this right here is the rooftop bar. This is where they pretty much have their nightly entertainment and things like that. And then there's a bar over here to the right that you can't see in this picture as well. So lots of different areas for them to hang out. TRS Coral is, again, adults only. And they also have an area of this resort. I know it says TRS Coral at the top here, but this is called the Family Selection Suites, I believe was the name of it. And this is like another area of the Grand Palladium TRS Coral area. It is a little bit more expensive, but it comes with a lot more things that are family focused, which is the reason that I took pictures of these. So there is a full bathtub with, the little rubber duckies. They come included with the crib, and then you can get these different add-ons as well, which is really nice if you have people traveling with little kids. The reason that I took pictures of these is because you can't always find this stuff online. So you may have to contact the resort and wait for them to respond. But if I have people that I'm sending there, I can be like, hey, this is what you're going to get. And I can just send them the pictures that I took, which is always very helpful because it's nice to not have to wait, and you can go back and look and say, oh yeah, you're going to get, water toys and sunglasses, or, no, you're not. And you can send them a picture of how big the crib is, and they can kind of determine if their baby's going to fit in there, if their kid's going to fit in there, whatever the case may be. So that's the reason that I take all of these kinds of pictures, just because, again, you want to think about future clients, what they may ask, what you may want to tell them, and what you may want to be able to show them. So I didn't get a lot of pictures at Grand Palladium just because there were a lot of people. So that's the reason that I didn't have any. But if you guys want some, I do have a couple that I can send to you. It is a very, very big property. So if you have people that don't want a big property, that's definitely not the place. But Grand Palladium is family friendly. They are sectioned off from TRS Coral because obviously it's adults only. But it is a very large property. They have golf cart service that will take you around. They also have a boat that goes through their property because it is so big. So if you guys look it up on the map, you will see how large it is. But that was the last one. That's where we finished up for the day. And then day 4 was our final full day there. And this day did not go at all as it was on the itinerary, but it kind of worked out for the better. So I ordered room service again for breakfast, and we were picked up at 9 a.m. again for 2 unplanned site inspections. So we did 2 site inspections. We did Impressions by Secrets Isla Mujeres, and we also did Zoetry in Isla Mujeres. These were not on our original itinerary. Impressions just opened that day that we went there. So that was like the grand opening day. Luckily, the guy that was running the fam trip had connections, and he got us over there. We had all decided the day before that we were going to go to Isla Mujeres anyway, just to spend the day. But he loves it over there. So he was like, I want to go with you guys. He was like, well, what if we do site inspections? So this was not at all on our itinerary. So always be prepared for the unexpected, but it turned out really nice. So we took a private boat to Impressions. That's how your guests or how your clients would get there as well, because it is on an island. So they have their own private boat that we took. And then from Impressions, once we finished that site inspection, we just took a golf cart ride to Zoetry because it was right down the street. After we finished the site inspections, it was around 1 p.m. We took a taxi to the opposite side of the island so we could rent golf carts for the day. We all split the cost of that, and we all kind of separated on the golf carts, but we still all stayed together. There was just 10 of us, so we weren't all going to fit on one golf cart. So we stopped for lunch as a group. We just stopped at the first place we saw because it was super hot and we were all starving. So we stopped at this place called Oscars. And then we visited the cliffs of Isla Mujeres and headed to Playa Norte to have an afternoon at the #1 rated beach in Mexico. So we kind of saw both ends of the island, which was really nice because for clients, I had never been there before. People always told me recommend that they go to Isla Mujeres, but I didn't know what to tell them to do there because I didn't really know. I had never experienced it for myself. The little downtown area, like when you first get off the ferry, which is how you would get there or how your clients would get there is through a ferry. It's very, very touristy. There is lots of different places for you to rent golf carts, go shopping. There's restaurants, things like that. But just make them aware it's not like a silent, relaxing island or anything like that. It's very busy and there are a lot of tourists. But it was good to know that because otherwise I would have had no idea. So we visited the cliffs. That was pretty cool. We didn't spend a ton of time there. Half of our group wanted to stay and like look at all of the stuff, but the other half of us just wanted to go to the beach and hang out. So at that point, we kind of split up, but we still all had a game plan to meet at the beach at some point. So we stayed at the beach for about 2 hours, just because that area that we were in started to close down as far as the chairs and all of that stuff. And we needed to get back to have dinner and all of that. So then we took the ferry back to Puerto Juarez, which was not super far from our resort. It was about a 15-minute drive. And so then we split up again in taxis and went back to our resort. So that day I only did 2 site inspections and then we kind of explored around Isla Mujeres, but I still walked 2.5 miles that day, which for me is a lot. I don't walk a ton, you guys. I don't really exercise. So 2.5 miles was still a lot for me. But we got to see those 2 resorts that I would have never experienced. It was pretty cool to be there on the grand opening day because there was not a lot of people there. And also that resort is just absolutely beautiful. So it was good to know how that works because it is on an island. So it's not like you get an airport transfer and they just take you straight to your resort. There's a little bit more that goes into it. So it was good to learn about that if I ever do send clients there. So basically what happens is when you schedule the transfer, they are going to take them to the dock, where the private boat for Impressions is, and then they're going to take that boat over to Impressions directly. So they'll be dropped off right at their resort. Zoetree is a very similar concept. They have people board their boat at Dreams Vista. So they'll be dropped off there and then they'll get on the boat to Zoetree. They are dropped off in a little marina across the street from Zoetree. So it's not like a pull up straight to the resort, but you are right across the street and then you just walk over. So it was good to know that in case I have people that ever go there, I can tell them kind of the rundown where they're going to be taken and all of that kind of stuff. So they don't just get in a transfer and be like, where in the world are you taking me? So we did dinner as a group again at the Mexican place that night. It was just the easiest and it didn't have a wait. So that's just where we all met up and we could split a lot of stuff, which was really nice. So these are some pictures from Impressions. So this boat right here is the catamaran that we took. It was about a 30-minute boat ride to like across the water from where we got on to actually getting off at this little dock right here. All these pictures again are of Impressions. The water there, super, super pretty. The beach here is not super big just because it is an island and they didn't have a ton of space. I don't know if I have a picture of it included on here, but I have some on my phone if you guys want them. But again, I just use these pictures obviously to advertise this property, but I can also use them in the future just as like an eye-catching photo. So those are things that I keep in mind. And I try to take multiple pictures of the same thing that are just like a tiny bit different so I can use them over and over again. And it's not the exact same, but it's pretty close. So this was kind of the beach area. It's not as thick with sand and stuff like that, but the water is crystal clear. And obviously when you look at it from the top, it's like that turquoise color, which everybody really likes. This is us at Impressions. So again, just to kind of show you what everybody wore, we all pretty much had on dresses again. We did know that we were going to be going to the beach after. So some people wore their swimsuit under what they had. Some of us brought it and changed into it at Zoetree. So obviously, like I said, this was not a normal day of a fam trip of us being super business professional or anything like that, but you can always accommodate. So again, we all tried to wear comfortable shoes just because even though the 2 resorts we were seeing were pretty small, we were going to be walking around the island and stuff like that. So still look, presentable as a business owner, but also be comfortable. So again, we just took pictures as a group, which are really nice to share and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. So, and you can see in this too, like how blue the water is right off of this resort. This was at Zoetree. So this is a much smaller resort. even smaller than Impressions. So this resort only has, I believe, 35 rooms. So very, very small. This is kind of their beach area. It's again very small, but it is private because it's kind of in like a little cove area. And then they have several pools that overlook the ocean. I'm pretty sure they were all infinity pools, if I remember correctly. And then this is the actual building where the rooms are. So unfortunately, because this resort is so small, and because we scheduled our site inspection very last minute, we didn't get to see any rooms here. But you can always see those on the website and stuff like that. It was still just nice to see how small of a property it is. And it's a very relaxation, peaceful type vibe. This resort technically does allow children, but there is absolutely nothing for kids here to do. So I don't know why anyone would take their kids here. But some people do. But they obviously are very, like I said, they are very peace and relaxation and finding your zen and all of that. They are very focused on that. So they don't just allow kids to run around and be crazy and all of that. They have to kind of be contained and all of that good stuff. But like I said, there's nothing here for kids to do. So I would not send kids here anyway. And they are charged at an adult rate regardless of their age. So that's also kind of a downside to that. So again, it was nice to see it. It is a very small property, but it was good to know how people would get there and things like that if I did have clients that were interested in it. So this was just kind of our day on Isla Mujeres. So as I mentioned, we rented golf carts. This was at the cliffs, so you can see how pretty this water is. And then there was a couple like little things that you could walk down and stuff like that. I personally did not do that, but there were some agents that did. And then over here is just a view of the beach. So there were chairs and umbrellas, and they had wait service and things like that. And then we just kind of hung out in the water for a little while. Zoetry looks like a great option for a wellness retreat. Absolutely. They do that a lot. The only thing to know is just that they only have 35 rooms, so you can't have like hundreds and hundreds of people, but they definitely are a great place for wellness retreats, yoga. They do all of that kind of stuff. That's really what they're focused on, and they have a spa and all of that good stuff too. So definitely good for that. So like I said, this was the beach. We all just kind of hung out in the water for a little bit before we headed back to return our golf carts. And this was a picture of us at the cliffs. Obviously, at this point, we were not doing site inspections. So a lot of us had changed into our bathing suits and our cover-ups and stuff like that because we were on our way to the beach. We just made a pit stop here for the picture. And we had lunch before this and everything. So obviously, none of us wore, like I did not show up to the site inspection in my bathing suit with my cover-up open or anything like that. So this was after all of that was over. And it was more of just, hey, we're hanging out for the day and we're done doing business stuff. So the last day, this is when most agents went home from the original fam trip. And then I had breakfast at the buffet. I just had it by myself because, like I said, we didn't have anything planned that day. Everybody was kind of leaving. I actually was the last person to get picked up because I didn't have a flight to catch. I was being transferred to another property. So in that free time, I took advantage of the time that I still had there because I wasn't leaving until noon. So I went around the resort. I took more pictures and videos without guests because it was early in the morning. Just because obviously I had gotten a lot from our site inspection, but when we were doing that, it was around lunchtime. So people were out and things like that. And I always like to have way more pictures and videos than I think I need. And I'll be honest with you guys, I got home and I thought I had tons and tons of photos and videos for TikToks and all of that. And I realized that I probably could have taken a lot more. So I always try to take as many pictures as I can. I also went around to some of the spots that we maybe didn't stop at for super long on our site inspection so I could get more photos of that. And just, like I said, just more videos of the grounds and all of that good stuff. So definitely took advantage of the time that I had. And then I packed and I just waited for my transfer to get there. Like I said, they picked me up around noon. And so then they transferred me to the Pyramid at Grand Oasis. I had the 3 free nights from doing the training. I'll just be very upfront with you guys. This was not my favorite resort. I only went there because I had the free nights. I have heard not super great things about it. It's definitely not my type of resort that I would pick to stay at. So please keep that in mind when I talk about this resort. It may be better for other people, but it's just not my type of place. So I got to Oasis about 12:45. Just because that's how long it took to get there. Our room wasn't ready. My husband did meet me there, so our room wasn't ready And I was just exhausted from all the walking and being in the heat and everything like that. I did not want to go sit out on the beach or anything like that. I just needed to hang out and relax in the AC. So we went to the ice cream shop, got ice cream, and then we hung out in the coffee shop until our room was ready. We got our room around 3, and then since we had our luggage and everything, we went to the pool just to kind of hang out. We didn't really have anything else to do that day. And then we had dinner at the Mexican restaurant. I'll be honest, wasn't super impressed. I feel like I get better Mexican food here in my little small town than I did there, but it was food and my husband liked his, so I guess I won't complain too much, but that is pretty much how that day went. We watched a show in the lobby at the end of the night. It was like a dance show with acrobatics and stuff like that, which was actually pretty cool. It's in the center of the lobby, so if you're in your room, you can hear all the people yelling and cheering and everything like that. So if you ever do send clients there, just know if they are in the Pyramid building, I'm not sure how it is in all I think the other buildings were not like that, but the Pyramid building, it has a lot of echoing because of the way that the lobby is set up. So the next day we had breakfast at the buffet. It was okay. It was just a basic breakfast buffet. And then I did my mandatory site inspection at Grand Oasis. So it was me and one other agent. You have to do that when you redeem that voucher. So it took about 45 minutes. I'll be honest, it was not a great site inspection, especially in comparison to the ones that I had seen before, because at all the ones before, we got to see rooms and we got taken into all the restaurants and all of that kind of stuff. We got taken into the kids club. This site inspection was pretty much just, we're going to stand in this one spot and I'm going to give you all this information and then we're going to be done. We didn't see any rooms, which, I mean, we had our own room, of course, but we weren't able to see any other types of rooms, which was kind of disappointing. But it only took about 45 minutes, so it was over and done really quickly. And then that afternoon, I just went back to the beach and the pool. We had lunch at the little food court thing. I'll be honest, didn't really love that either, just because they have like hamburgers and chicken tenders and pizza, and those weren't that bad. But where they have the toppings, it's all just kind of sitting out in the sun, which was kind of gross in my opinion, because everything was like mushy and just really hot. And I don't know, I was a little nervous, to be honest, to eat any of it. So that's just my opinion. And then we had dinner at the so-called Italian restaurant. We got pizza. They had pasta and pizza. It was a very basic menu. We got pizza. I'll be honest, it looked like a little frozen pizza. It was nothing spectacular. It wasn't like authentic Italian by any means, but we ate it. We were full, so it is what it is. I'll just, like I said, that's exactly how my site inspection went at the Pyramid. Yeah. So like I said, the site inspections there are very short and sweet. They give you information, but you don't really get to see a ton. It's just kind of like, over there is what that is, and over there is what that is. You don't really get to see a lot of it. And it is a very spread out property, but honestly, it was so hot and there's not a lot of shade at that property. So I was kind of fine with it. I just wanted it to be over. For that one, I didn't really like dress up a whole lot because I knew it was going to be short. I think I wore black jeans and a tank top, like a thick strapped tank top, but it was like a nicer tank top. So that's what I wore for that. I don't think I have a picture of it because I took it off and went to the pool right after. So I did take some pictures of like the grounds. I will say the beach here wasn't horrible. There was a lot of like beach area. There wasn't a ton of seaweed. There was a little bit, and you guys can kind of see it right here, maybe where it's a little bit darker, but it wasn't anything bad. I got in the ocean super easily and the water was pretty calm, so didn't have to worry about any of that. We stayed on the beach most of the time just because the pool was like party central, and being pregnant, that was just not my scene, and there was not a lot of shade, as I mentioned before. So as you can see, they have these big huge beds that you can either rent, or they have some that are first come first serve, but they just have like this one umbrella in between and it doesn't cover anything. And it was the same way at the pool. And with me, I just didn't want to be baking in the sun all day, so I wanted to be able to sit under these palapas and stuff like that. The chairs on the beach were not comfortable at all. They were like super hard plastic. I'll just be very honest. I was like, my back hurts so bad. I was having to stack up towels, and then eventually I was like, screw this. I'm just going to put my towel in the sand because that's more comfortable. So this is a picture from the rooftop. This is just one of the pools. They have a pool throughout the entire property because, like I said, it is a very spread out property. It's 3 in 1. So it goes through the entire thing. But again, very much a party vibe, spring break, all of that good stuff. They have a big stage as well that they do like a beach club on, and it's supposed to be adults only, but kids can very much see into it and hear it over the pool. They were having like twerking contests, and the workers were up on stage, you know, shaking what they had, and that's great and that's fine, but that's not where I would send families. I'll just be honest. They were like pouring liquor into people's mouths and stuff. It was very spring break vibes. So just know that if you have people interested in it, that is what it is. I saw a lot of very, very intoxicated people having to be pulled out of the pool and things like that. And there's a lot of trash everywhere just from people kind of throwing their stuff everywhere. And like I said, I knew from the get-go that this place was not going to be my vibe, but those are definitely important things to know if you are going to send budget clients there. I actually did a full review of this property, very, very in-depth on the Resorts of the Riviera Maya page. So if you guys want that and you are not in that Facebook group, let me know and I can send that to you, because like I said, I went very, very in detail. Not everything about this stay was horrible. Like the beach there, like I said, it was a very nice beach. The entertainment was pretty good at night for the most part, but other than that, it just was not my type of place. So I tried to be as unbiased as possible in my review. So like I said, if you guys want that, just let me know and I can send it to you. The 7th day I was there, we had breakfast at the buffet again. We spent the day at the beach, and then we had dinner at the steakhouse. Pretty much the same as the day before. I just didn't have a site inspection. This was kind of my relaxation day, catching up from all the walking I had done all the days prior. I will say the dinner at the steakhouse was very good. The steak was super tender. They had a lot of different options. It was a very, very good dinner. It was probably the best meal I had the whole time I was there. So not all the food there is bad by any means, but the steakhouse definitely had some of the best food in comparison to the other places. The last day we had breakfast at the buffet again. That was the only option that they had, I believe, was buffets. They weren't horrible, but nothing like super great by any means, just your typical buffet. And then we checked out of Grand Oasis, and I actually reserved, or I set up site inspections through Amstar. So Amstar does offer complimentary site inspections on specific days. You may be in the car with other agents and they have a set list of places that they visit. So you can't tweak that at all. And based on what they had sent me, I had either already seen some of the properties or they were not properties I was interested in. So that's why I chose to pay for my own. It was just me and my husband in the transfer. There were no other agents, but I got to pick the resorts that I went on. And I'm going to break down all the costs. I know we're getting right at the hour, but I knew I was going to go over. So Amstar picked us up at 8:10 for site inspections of Secrets Maroma, Valentine Imperial, Secrets and Breathless, Riviera Cancun, and we were scheduled to have lunch there. And then I also saw Royalton Riviera Cancun, which has the Hideaway at Royalton also. So these were the 4 that I chose. They set everything up. I just told them where I wanted to go. And we did have a little bit of back and forth because some of the resorts I wanted to see were unavailable or just didn't respond or whatever. So we did have to tweak it a little bit. But I chose to do it on this day because they were going to pick us up from Oasis. We were going to do all of our site inspections and then they would drop us off at the next resort that we were staying at. So I didn't have to pay for an additional transfer. I just used them as my transfer from one resort to the other, which was nice. So this day I walked even more. I walked 5.2 miles. So again, these properties were a little bit larger. It was definitely interesting to be on a site inspection by myself versus with a group, because when you're with a group, there are a lot more people asking questions and you're standing in certain places longer for people to take pictures and videos and all of that kind of stuff. When you're by yourself, it's just you there to ask questions. So they give you all the information they have to give. And then if you don't have any questions, you just move on to the next thing. So it went a lot faster than it did with the group. But the one maybe downside to that is if there's questions that you don't think of at that time that maybe somebody else would have, you kind of miss out on the opportunity, which kind of sucks. But for the most part, I think I got as much information as I possibly could have. So after that, we checked in at Live Aqua around 3:00. So we actually got done about an hour early, but we had we had a driver and then we had another representative that actually did the site inspections with us to make sure that like we stayed on time and things like that. So once I got to Live Aqua, I took pictures and videos of our room again before we had all of our stuff everywhere. And then we went to the beach because we had that afternoon and we had a late lunch. So went to the beach, and then we had dinner at the Mediterranean restaurant and did some evening entertainment. They just had like a band, so we just sat at the bar and listened to the band. It wasn't anything like party scene by any means, but we did have a good time, and the food there was absolutely phenomenal. So these are pictures from my site inspection. So this is Secrets Maroma. This is the lobby bar. And then this is just some pictures of the grounds. It was very, very pretty there. The beach here is huge. They have cornhole and beach volleyball and stuff like that. This day, the beach was super clear of seaweed. The person that did our site inspection did tell me that it's not always that pretty, but they were having a really good beach day. So just keep that in mind. And obviously you can see how big this is. There were lots of chairs and cabanas and things like that. I have lots more pictures. If you guys want any of them or need them to send to clients, please let me know. I just didn't include all of them on the slideshow because I have so many. So this was, like I said, Secrets Maroma. And then this was Valentine. I've only included a couple pictures from each. So like I said, just if you need other pictures or want other pictures, let me know. This was like their plaza area. This is where they have a lot of entertainment and things like that. This is one of the rooms, and the reason that she showed it to us, she showed us several different rooms, which was really nice. I can't remember off the top of my head which one this is. I know it's in my documents, but this is the one room category that does not have a fully private bathroom. They just have this curtain that kind of goes across. So she said if you have clients that want fully private, then to just book them in a different room category than what this one was. I want to say it was like the second room category, but I don't remember off the top of my head. And then this was the beachfront ocean view rooms. They don't have this is a very spread out property, so just know that they do have golf cart shuttles all day every day. So if you have people that don't want to walk or whatever, then you can always have them call the they can use the butler or the concierge, whatever you want to call it, to call the golf cart shuttle. But this was the bathroom in the oceanfront room. These are the Emerald Suites, I believe is what they're called. So that was really cool. And then at Breathless and Secrets, these two properties are connected. So we were able to tour both of them. They're pretty small, so it didn't take very long. And then we had lunch here as well. So we were able to see both sides. Secrets Riviera Cancun, all rooms are preferred club. So they all have those preferred club amenities. As you can see, the beach itself here is really big, but the ocean is not something super pretty. It's not super blue. They do get quite a bit of seaweed. They have this little barrier up right here to try to help with that, but obviously some of it gets through because as you guys can see in this picture, there is quite a bit of seaweed. So just know that if you have clients that want a great ocean, this is maybe not it, but the beach itself is not bad. And they do have people at this resort and at Secrets Maroma that try to clean it up the best they can. This was just a picture of the pool. Anybody at Secrets can go to Breathless, but not vice versa. So just keep that in mind. If they want to have access to both, then I would have them at Secrets. I actually had clients here a couple weeks ago. They were on the Secrets side. That's where their room was, but they also got to take advantage of the Breathless side, which they really liked having access to both. I got coconut shrimp here, and I know some people are gonna be like, that is the most basic thing you could have got. But when I tell y'all, this was the best coconut shrimp I've ever had in my life. I am not kidding. It was so good. And I don't know if it was just because I was hungry or what, but it was very good. We also got guacamole, which was like authentic, like legitimate guacamole, not just like avocados mashed up with no anything in it. It was very, very good. We also got fish tacos, which were super good because we ate at like a seafood restaurant. So we got fish tacos. My husband got ceviche, which he said was really good. And the Amstar guide that was with us, he had lunch with us as well. And I asked him when we left, I was like, is that actually good food for Mexico, or is that like very, Americanized food? He was like, no, the food here is actually really good. He was like, I would definitely recommend this place if you have people that want good food, which usually you don't hear that too much for Secrets properties. So he also kind of gave his input, which was nice because he does site inspections all the time. He's been to a lot of different resorts and things like that because obviously he lives in the area. Royalton, as I mentioned, is Royalton Riviera Cancun. This is the family side, and then they have the Hideaway at Royalton, which is adults only. They do have a very large gym, so if you have clients that want to be able to work out on their vacation, then this is definitely a property that they would enjoy. The gym was 2 different floors. They have tennis courts, everything like that. It was absolutely huge. They have personal trainers that you can take advantage of, stuff like that, which was really cool. And then they do have a water park. So for the kids. So they have these slides, and then back here you can't see them, but there are more slides back there as well. They do have an age limit on them, which was, I believe, 15, but they do have water slides if you have families with kids that want that. This is, again, just kind of an overview of the property. We also looked at some areas that they can do weddings. So if you guys want that information, let me know. But this is one of the bigger pools. And then over here, this is like a theater type thing. And this is the pool that has all the entertainment during the day. So while we were there, they had music playing, and they were playing games and stuff like that, which was, everybody seemed really interactive and like they were having a good time. It wasn't like a party necessarily, but they were playing games and being entertained. So there's definitely a lot of stuff to do at this resort. We were able to see several different room types, which was really nice. Royalton does have the option to select your room. So obviously when you book it, you select a room category, but you can also go onto their website and actually select your specific room. You do have to pay extra for that, but they have the option to select your room. So if your clients want to be closer to the pool, or they want to be further away from the pool, or whatever the case may be, then you can actually go online and they can pay extra to choose exactly where their room is, and that is guaranteed. Another thing for that is if you have people that need a handicap accessible room, you can go on and pay for the room selector to get the handicap accessible room as well. So they have the mirrors that kind of tilt down for people that are in a wheelchair. They have the flat surfaces that you don't have to roll over anything. They have the bigger shower areas and things like that if you have clients that need that. So that was really interesting to find out, because I knew they had a room selector, but I didn't really know how it worked. So I definitely asked about that, and it was good information to have for sure. So the next day I was at, like I said, we transferred to Live Aqua, and that's where I spent 3 nights. So I got 2 nights from doing the training last fall, and then I had a free night from a booking. So we had breakfast at the resort this first full day there at the buffet. I took pictures and videos. This was the best breakfast buffet I've ever had in my life. If you ever go there, you need to get the cinnamon rolls. They are to die for, but they have all kinds of stuff at their buffet. So they have a juice station. They have a whole thing down the middle of like pastries and muffins, cookies, cake, all of that stuff. They have 2 made to order egg stations. So you can get eggs or omelets with lots of different toppings within them. They had a little area for waffles and French toast and that type of stuff, and pancakes. And they were always super fresh. They were never sitting under the heat lamp for very long. They made sure to trade them out, so everything was constantly fresh. They had a smoothie station. So there was somebody there and you could tell him what you wanted in your smoothie and he would make it for you. They had a little area for fruit and yogurt and cereal. And then they also had like a little salad area, as well as a little area with like Mexican food, which was more authentic Mexican, which was super, super good. So we pigged out every morning at the buffet. I actually decided to do one more site inspection. This was just on my own. I knew it wasn't going to be, a whole lot, but I do sell this property quite a bit to my budget clients. So I decided to do a site inspection of Riu Palace Las Americas. I was going to do it with Amstar, but it wasn't in the same area, so it was going to cost a whole lot of money, and I just didn't want to do that. So I set that up with someone at the resort before I went on this trip. So we just took a taxi. It was like a 7-minute drive, I think. And it did cost about $20 each way, which was kind of a lot, but I do sell this property a ton. So I really wanted to put eyes on it so I could know what I was selling. And I have a bachelorette group going there in a couple weeks, so I had questions and things like that. So that site inspection was only about 40 minutes. That property is actually a lot smaller than I thought it was. Definitely still a good option for budget clients, but like I said, I didn't know exactly what to expect, and I definitely learned a lot of things that I did not know prior. So one of those things being that their king beds are actually just 2 like double beds pushed together. It's not one big bed. So for some people that may be a deal breaker, but like I said, I didn't know that before. So we did that, and then we came back. Again, we toured that whole resort. It wasn't super big, didn't take super long, but I learned a lot of information that will definitely be useful for when I book people there in the future. When we came back, we went to the beach. Again, I took a lot of pictures and videos and stuff like that. We got lunch at one of the food stations. They had nachos and hamburgers and hot dogs. They also have a ceviche station, and a couple other things. And then my husband played beach volleyball like his life depended on it, while I sat and did absolutely nothing. So we came back and ordered room service around 3:30, because we were hungry and wanted a little snack, but we weren't ready for dinner yet. And then we had dinner at the Mexican restaurant, which was really good. And then we just went back to the bar that night for, again, they had live music. They also had karaoke in another bar, but Live Aqua is definitely not a party resort. They are not super entertainment focused. That's pretty much the entertainment that they offer, is like a live band, karaoke. They had a Mexican themed party at the pool one night with like a dinner that was at the pool, but they don't have any like day parties or anything like that. They don't have a lot of loud music. It's very like chill and relaxing and stuff like that. So if you have people that are looking for a party, this is probably not the place to send them. But if you have people that just kind of want to hang out, relax, all of that, then this is definitely a good option. So these are some pictures from Ryu Palace. So again, this is the lobby. We were just waiting on the site inspection person because we got there a little bit early. The beach here isn't super big, which I didn't realize, but it is a very nice beach nonetheless. They don't really get hit with a lot of seaweed. And Isla Mujeres is across the way, so it kind of blocks the seaweed. So you can see that off in the distance too. And then this is one of the pools. So she showed us around some restaurants and stuff like that. And then we also got to see some rooms. But like I said, which was interesting because it was not what I expected when I hear king bed. I do have pictures of that if you guys are interested in those though, so just let me know. And then I believe this was our last full day. So we had breakfast at the buffet again. It was so good. I was like, I don't even want to waste time going to the sit down restaurant. I just want to pig out at this buffet every day. So we did that. And then I was a little bit sunburnt from the day before. So we just went to the pool for a little bit. And then we had also scheduled spa treatments. So we had the spa treatment. It was supposed to be at 3:30. And we got the hydrotherapy that came included with it the hour before. So we went to the spa at 2:30. I got an aloe wrap because, like I said, I was super sunburnt and that thing changed my life. It was so cold, but it felt so good. And then my husband got a deep tissue massage, which he really enjoyed. He doesn't really have anything to compare it to. So I always take his opinions and thoughts with a grain of salt because I know his expectations are much lower than mine, but I have always heard good things about the spa at Live Aqua, so I'm just going to say that they do have a really good deep tissue massage. As I mentioned, the hydrotherapy was included with both. I personally did not do it because they recommended, since I was pregnant, not to, just because you go from really hot to really cold to really hot to really cold, and it can like really kind of mess with you. And I was okay with that. I didn't really want to sit in the sauna or anything super hot anyway, because like I said, I was sunburnt, but Jonathan took advantage of that and he really enjoyed it. He loves to sit in the sauna and do all of that. He said he felt phenomenal after. So that was nice that they were willing to be like, hey, you probably shouldn't do this. So they're very accommodating with, medical needs and things like that. And then that night we had dinner at MB. So this is the only restaurant at this resort that has a dress code. All the other ones, you just can't show up in your bathing suit or like with open clothes. Like you have to have actual clothes on and some sort of shoes. But they're not super, particular about that. MB does require long pants for men and closed-toed shoes. So that is just something to be aware of if you do plan to have dinner there, which I do strongly recommend. The food there, like I said, all the food we had at this resort was delicious. I had sent a client there in January and she was like, you have to try the habanero soup. And I would have never ordered that on my own, but because she recommended it, I got it. And I was like, I need 7 more bowls of this. It was so, so good. And then I got a steak and my husband got pork ribs. It was super tender. I literally cut it with a butter knife. So it was very, very yummy. And it was just a really nice, like romantic restaurant. There was a guy playing piano. They have a big, huge wine cellar type thing. And very, very good food. And then I got a brownie and some ice cream at the end for dessert. And they like wrote on my plate, have a nice trip, because they knew that it was our last night. So that was a pretty cool touch. And then we went to karaoke at the lobby bar because, like I said, that was pretty much the activities that they had going on for the night. So that was how we spent our last night. This was our last day, so I got up early again to go around the property, took more pictures and videos with not a lot of guests out, and I actually went live on my Instagram stories to kind of talk about it, which was really great for my algorithm. So I got a lot of views on that and a lot of people asking questions about it. We had breakfast at the buffet again. We checked out at 11 because that's when our transfer got there. And then we went back to the airport, which was a whole other story. But that is pretty much how my trip went. These are just some pictures of the food. So again, these are the cinnamon rolls. You have to get them. These were the pork ribs that my husband got. He really loved them. They made me a lot of mocktails, which were all very good. They made sure like no alcohol. They made sure they cleaned out everything very well that had alcohol in it before, because it was pretty obvious that I was pregnant. So they were very accommodating in that way, which was really nice. I know some other resorts are not super weary about cleaning stuff out, but they did a very, very good job of that. And all the drinks were really good too. This was our room. I just had a garden view because it was free nights. I didn't pay to upgrade or ask to upgrade or anything like that. So this is one thing you should know is the garden view may quite literally mean that you have trees right in your balcony. We didn't spend any time on the balcony, so it really didn't matter to us. But if you have people that don't want that, then just be aware that that is a possibility. This was the room. We had a king bed. And then the bathroom here, I made a video on TikTok about this, but the bathroom here is also not 100% private. It's a little bit more private than the Majestic bathroom, but they have these shades you can close, but they don't close like completely. You can still kind of see through them. And then all the doors and stuff like that on the shower, they are tinted, but you can still see through them. So if you guys want those videos, I can send those to you as well. But again, just something to note. If you have clients that are going there, it is not 1000% private. This was the beach. The beach here, again, really nice, super big actual beach area. The water here was super, super calm every single day. There was very, very minimal seaweed. And the water, as you guys can tell, was like this beautiful turquoise color. And then these are just some pictures of the pool. So that was pretty much all the places that I saw. I know I'm over the hour, but I do want to go over this last part. So just kind of like the details of the fam trip, how much it costs, the rules, all of that stuff, because obviously there are fam trips that you can get invited on that are free, but this one was not. So I do want to be very transparent about that. So the fam trip that I did the first half, so the first 5 days, it was done by Mexico Fam Trips. Their website is listed right here. So they also have CaribbeanFamTrips.com. That is also their website. I did have to pay for that. So that one was $650 for single occupancy. Again, this is only for agents. So if you have another agent that you're really close with and you're willing to share a room with, they will honor a double occupancy rate. You just have to let them know, but you do both have to be agents. I was not rooming with anyone, so I just paid the $650 for single occupancy. And this again was for 4 nights. This included the airport transfers. So they picked me up from the airport. They also took me to Oasis since I didn't have a flight to catch on the way back. It included the transfer for the site inspections, and it also included the room at Majestic for the 4 nights. So all of that was included in the $650. It did not include tips and gratuities. It didn't include spa treatments. It didn't include our day trip to Isla Mujeres. Obviously, that one we had site inspections, so I had to go to that. But if I didn't want to do the rest of the activities, I didn't have to participate in that because that was kind of an optional thing. Obviously, I wanted to because I wanted to be able to share that with my clients, but that was one of the things that we had to pay extra for that. It was not included. And then obviously my flights were not included either. So tips and gratuities, they kind of gave us like a guideline of what they expected us to leave as tips and gratuities, but obviously that is totally up to you if you decide to leave those or not. I did use my miles for my flight, so I only had to pay the taxes for it, which was about $100. So I didn't have to pay for like a full flight, thank goodness. Again, that was nobody except travel agents. You do have to sign up on their website, fill out the information, and they pick people. It's always a small group, usually about 10 or so agents. Our group was 7 agents. There were a couple other people scheduled to go, but they ended up not being able to. So there was a few less than what originally were going, but our group was 7. Usually it's about 10 to 12 agents is what they typically try to aim for. But like I said, you can just apply for those on the website. Oh no, the phone's ringing. So you have to follow the rules that they provide, including the dress code. You have to attend all of the activities, all of the training, and you cannot solicit guests for business. So, although we were all walking around with bags that said Majestic Elegance loves travel agents, I apologize for the phone ringing. I don't know why nobody's answering it. But even though we were all walking around and it was pretty obvious that we were travel agents, we were not allowed to go up to people and give them our business card or anything like that. If we would have been at the pool or the beach one day and someone came up to us and started a conversation and it kind of led to that, that's a little bit different, but you can't just go up to people and try to get business. So just know that this is not necessarily to get business from the guests at the resort that you are staying at, but more to advertise once you come home. The itinerary, as I mentioned, was provided prior to arrival with our schedule and the times that we had to be at all the certain places. We utilized WhatsApp, so that's how we all communicated with each other. And then we also had a photo circle with all the different resorts that we saw, and everybody could upload to that. We did that on the fam trip that I did with Team Horizon as well. So you had access to everybody else's pictures and stuff as well. So as I mentioned, I realized I didn't quite have as many as I thought I did, so I could use other people's as well. Obviously, some changes were made upon arrival and throughout the trip, like adding those extra site inspections and stuff like that. So just be willing to pivot. I'm not saying that that stuff always happens, but for us, we really enjoyed it, and we're super glad that we got to experience those two resorts that we hadn't originally planned. The stay at the Pyramid, as I mentioned, I completed the training and I got 3 free nights that were good for me and one other guest. I redeemed it via email. I don't believe they're accepting those vouchers anymore, but in my opinion, y'all are not missing nothing. So I'll just say that. So that obviously didn't cost me any money. It included the room, and that was pretty much it. It didn't include any gratuities or tips, any spa treatments. They do have several restaurants and activities that cost extra, so it didn't include any of that. And it also did not include the transfers, but as I mentioned, my transfer there was included in my price from the previous fam trip because I didn't have to go to the airport. They took me to Oasis instead. So this was much more laid back. I took this trip with my husband. I did have to do that one site inspection. That was a mandatory thing. But other than that, I didn't have any like dress codes or rules or anything like that I had to follow. If I wanted to go around and give my business card to everybody, I could. I'll be honest, I didn't at this resort because a lot of the people at this place are not my personal ideal clients, but I could have if I wanted to. The site inspections with Amstar I arranged via email prior to my trip. The email that I used is right here, so you can just reach out to them and let them know, hey, I'm going to be in this destination, this date to this date. I believe they do them in Cancun. I believe they also do them in Jamaica as well as Dominican Republic. So you can just let them know where you're going, what you're looking for. If you want to do the complimentary ones, they can send you those. If you want to set up your own, then you can let them know, hey, these are the places I'm kind of interested in, get their input, all of that kind of stuff, and then they'll let you know how much it costs. So I just touched on that. So I did choose my own itinerary that did cost extra. It cost $150. That included the transfer from Oasis to all 4 resorts, the lunch at one resort, and then them dropping me off at Live Aqua. So it did not include tips or gratuities for the driver or the person that came around with us. We gave them, I think, $20 each because they were really nice. And they made sure that I was taken care of, that I was hydrated, and that I had cool rags and all of that stuff. Because like I said, it was super hot. And they gave us some information about the area as we were driving through, and like personal information, like personal experience from living there and dealing with other travel agents and clients and things like that. So that was definitely very helpful. The price is going to vary depending on the amount of hours you need the transfer, how many places you're going, how far they have to drive you, all of that. My price of $150 was for 8 hours. So that was, an entire day, which in my opinion was pretty good. I got to see 4 resorts from that. If I sell even just one of them, then I've already made my money back. So was definitely worth it in my opinion. Since I did this on my own and not with other agents, my husband did come with me. I just dressed business casual. I wore comfy shoes. This day, I believe I wore a dress again. I can't remember. I don't have a picture, but I'm pretty sure I just wore a dress again because it was hot. So as I mentioned, we had a driver and we had another rep that actually did the site inspections with us while the driver just like waited in the car. So my stay at Live Aqua, again, I did the training last fall, got 2 free nights for me and one other guest, and then I also had 1 free night from a registered booking. I just redeemed them via email and through the portal. So this obviously cost me no money. It included the room. It also did not include gratuities, tips, spa treatments, any additional costs, restaurants. They do have one. They have like a steakhouse that costs extra. It's super expensive, so we didn't eat there. And this did not include my transfer back to the airport, so I did have to book that. Again, my price or my transfer to this resort was included with Amstar, so I didn't have to pay for that separately. Again, this was a lot more laid back. I took this trip with my husband. I did not do a site inspection here because I've already done a site inspection here, and I really just wanted to kind of relax for the last 3 days and do nothing. And then, like I said, the transfer to the airport on our final day was not included. So the cost was for that transfer was originally $51.92 in room res. But I had rewards built up from booking things in room res that I was able to use. It was like $6. It wasn't a lot, but it was $6. So I ended up spending $45.94 on that transfer. And that was, again, for me and my husband. It was a private transfer. And then I also earned commission on it. So I earned like 11% commission, which, again, not a ton of money by any means, but I did earn commission on it. So the total amount that I can write off on my taxes is $946.94. I know to some people that seems very expensive, but again, if I get 2 bookings out of this trip, which I already have, I'm going to touch on that in a second. This trip has basically paid for itself. So that included my flight there and back, my round trip flight. It included my fam trip with Mexico Fam Trips. It included my Amstar site inspections and my airport transfer on the day that we departed. So obviously I'm not going to write off any tips or gratuities or the activities that I did on Isla Mujeres because I paid cash in those. I don't have a receipt, but those were all good experiences. I don't really write off tips or gratuities anyway, but the Isla Mujeres day was definitely a good experience for me to be able to share with my clients. During this trip, I personally toured and experienced 18 different resorts and had that day trip to Isla Mujeres. I have already booked 2 trips for clients, which I mentioned. So I have already booked someone at Valentine. I booked that the day that I came back. And then I just booked someone. Well, actually, I'm in the process of getting their passport, but they are booking it. They are going to Live Aqua. So she reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, I see that you're there." And this was a couple days ago. I was like, "I'm actually not there anymore." She was like, "Well, I want to book it there. So can you book it for me?" So I've already booked those 2 trips. So this fam trip that I took has already paid for itself. And obviously I'm just going to continue to advertise them. So I was also in Mexico for 11 days. So that is not even $100 a day. So I will absolutely take that any day of the week. So that is pretty much it. I was going to say one more thing. I know I'm well over the hour, but if anybody has any questions or anything, I know I saw some in the chat, so I will answer those. Have I stayed at Live Aqua in other cities? I have not. They have one in Punta Cana. I know Jody has stayed there, but I have not personally been there yet. I am staying there in November though. So, yes. So I'm gonna stop this recording.